What is a swage? Some of these words you haven't heard. You don't hear them. Sometimes they're old. You hear people call it a swage block with the D, swage, or swage. I've always heard it called swage. This is a definition. This is right off of Google. I've Mary slide in. A swage is a shaped tool or die for giving a desired form to metal by hammering or pressure. So it's a form to push something into. I like to think of it as like the old Play-Doh Fun Factory. I don't know if you guys had those or not. Maybe they're obsolete. I got no idea. Okay, it's you're pushing something into shape, hammering it down into something, a die. You're hammering it down in it. That's a swage. We will show you at the anvil now. We'll go over there and talk a little bit more about them. I'll show you a couple of them. And the swage block, which is something you'll hear about in a blacksmith shop. You have these guys say, oh, there's a swage block. We'll show you what that is. So let's go and we'll go over to the anvil and we'll show you some more. All right, now we're back at the anvil. Let's talk about swages, okay? There's all different kinds. You got to remember, like I was told, a swage is to make material to form it into the shapes of your desired stock. Whatever size you want it down to, whatever shape you want it down to, you're pushing it, forcing it into a shape, okay? So, that being said, there's lots of different sizes. There's all lots of different shapes. These two that I have here, these are swages that are made to go into the hardy hole of your anvil. You've seen me use this one right here on the ears and stuff on the moose and the donkeys. I'll put that ear in there and I hammer down to get that curve and that shape that I want that ear to be. This one happens to be a 1/2 inch. Okay, it fits a 1/2 inch bar. And usually they fit about halfway, just like this one is. It sits about halfway in there. Okay, so this is a swage made to fit into, move your girdle, made to fit into a hardy hole. So you can work that swage at your anvil for whatever you're doing. Now, as you notice, this one only fits halfway. So if you're swaging, if you're going to hit on this, it's going to shape as you turn this and stuff like that, but it'll work even better, and you'll see a lot of people have a bottom swage and a top swage. Now this is not a top swage, but you can get what I mean by that. Now that it is in there, if you hammered down on this, this would make a 1/2 inch round in between there, okay? But this is a bottom swage, this is a bottom swage. This is a top swage made for about 1 inch bar. Okay, so it would sit on the top as you chewed up that bar. This is not a hammer. It has a hole in here for a handle, but it's not made to swing. You're not going to swing a top swage like this. It's made to sit on the material over a bottom swage, over the material, and then to be hit onto here. You're trying to make the material that you need. If you need 1/2 inch material, you're going to be able to make it. Okay? Right now, in all honesty, we just buy it. You buy 1/2 inch sticks or rounds. Okay, but if you're taking that metal and you're taking it all the way and you got to shape it into what you need, that's where these swages come in. Okay, a swage block is this right here. It is just that. It is a block of steel that has multiple swages all over it. Now they're kind of fun. They have tons of different designs, tons of different areas to push that material into to get your shapes. You have all these circles, you have the squares. I've used them for bending different material. Okay, if you get a big old bar, you can put it in here and you can bend it over to 90. If you got a round and you bend, you can bend in it. But the swage block itself is just that. It's made to swage things, squish them into a specific shape. You'll notice there's the triangles, these deep triangle shapes. Okay, these are one side of it, but like that. So now if you could imagine having the top side that was also a diamond, you can create a material. Think of it like Play-Doh. If you stuck Play-Doh in there and squished it and worked it back and forth, when you came out, it would be whatever the shape is of this die, right? So that's what it's for. But there's all different sizes, all different styles in there to make the material that you needed. Also, if you're familiar with tenons, a lot of guys I know, it's kind of fun if you have some old wagon pieces. This is back in the day where you're trying to make all your stock. So a wagon axle comes across, and I have one, but it's buried in the steel, but it actually fits the end hub piece where bearings on a modern day one would go, but this one, it actually fits into here and butts up tight against this face, and it actually fits in there. You can tell that they set that tenon using a block with this size. They made the bar of the axle using the different shapes, different swedges to create the bar, the square bar for the axle, to create the hubs, and to create the rings that go on the end of the hub. Not the wheel itself, but to get started in shaping the rings that go on the hub. They fit right in these almost perfectly. It's kind of cool. It's fun to see it fit into the tools that it was used for that long ago. You know, wheelwright or wagon shop. Okay, so hopefully you understand a little bit more about a Swage now and the Swage block. So you can see these tools in a blacksmith shop, you'll kind of know what they are. Okay, I did part of a video. I mislabeled some information. It was driving me nuts. Okay, these are the Swage blocks. Fullers we'll talk about in another video. I had a bunch laid out. That's not what we're talking about today. Okay, so Swage block, just to give you an idea. Okay, I've seen them a lot bigger. This one's 12 3/4 by 12 3/4. It's square, and roughly it's about 4 inches thick. Okay, it's a big block of iron. You can hammer. It's made to hammer stuff in here. It's made to be worked. That's why it's so heavy. There's another one on the floor over here. It's about the same thickness, but it's 15 inches square. But what you can see is all these different patterns that are in it, these holes, these squares. I can take and do lots of different things in there. It's just a shaping block. It's a swedging block. I can take and hammer down. I can make a cone. This one's tapered like a cone, right? There's lots of things you can put in here to true up, to bend, to shape. I don't know how old these ones are. Some of them have information. You can tell the manufacturer, who made them, things like that. I don't on both of these. Now, that being said, I have people all the time ask me, Big John, where the crap do you find all this stuff? Okay, I was collecting this stuff, I like to say, before it was cool. Like I got a whole bunch of stuff that I gathered up, and people thought it was so weird that I was gathering this stuff up. This one was found on a disc on a tractor. It was being used as a weight. Okay, I noticed what it was is now if you watch this video, you'll see it and go, oh, that block's not just a weird piece of steel or a weight for a tractor. That's a Swage block. Okay, I saw it on the disc, talked to the guy, and we ended up trading. I cut some steel, had some big iron plates that weighed the same amount. We put that on his disc, and he traded me this. He goes, oh, I didn't even know what it was. He literally thought it had a bolt through here. It was bolted down onto the disc. He thought it was a weight for the tractor. Okay, that's where I got this one. But if you know how to identify them, you'll know what it is. These ones that fit in the hardy hole are very handy. Okay, this is it's tricky. If you got it on a good stand, you can move it around. But a lot of stuff I'm doing smaller. I have several of these. These are actually the exact same size, just the metal is different in the manufacturing and when they made it. This is bent down, this one comes in the middle. I can set these in the hardy. I can clamp these in my vise and to use it for a lot of different things, just to swage something out, to smooth something out. You'll see these guys use these on tongs, right? The reins of your tongs. If I want these tongs, and I want these reins, these handles to all be the same size, once I've got my forging on there, right? If I have a top and bottom swage, now I can take that rein while it's hot, and I'll be able to clean this up and to swage that whole handle. So one, it's round and smooth, but it's whatever size. It's going to be exactly that 1/2 inch. If I swage it between those two, a top and a bottom swage, and I would be hitting this, but like I said, this is the bottom. It would be a tool that looks like this, but has that 1/2 inch round. Just to give you the idea, you would be hammering and swaging that material, sizing it. Okay? So hopefully now you recognize a little better what a swage is, what a swage block is, what these are, what they're used for. Hopefully you enjoy the videos. Guys, we appreciate you watching them, subscribing, and we'll keep putting some out. About the tools, next one we'll do is about a fuller. A fuller is way different than a swage. Okay? Similar, but different. And how we use those, where we use those. You guys have seen me, if you're watching the video, you see me use one a lot, a fuller. I'm always separating, squishing out material, fullering on the edge of the anvil, fullering over fullers that I always have in the anvil, fullering on the fly press. We fullered in the nose of the moose, the donkey, the dragon. There's all kinds of things, okay? So, hopefully you enjoyed it, you like it. If you find yourself one of these cool old tools, hang on to it. Cool piece of history and very functional for lots of different shapes. There's so much you can do in these. Even just the shape is there, but there's a lot more you can do once you identify how to swage material in the swages. Stretch it around, hammer it. Okay? So, on to the next one. Thanks again. Let's go.